Welcome to the Unrefined Project. My name is Travis, and this is my buddy David. How we doing?
I'm doing all right. I don't have a hangover this weekend.
All right.
Well, for once, right?
We're doing good then. And this week we have Peter Cottontail on the boards, a.k.a. Peter Rabbit. How we doing,
What's up,
Peter?
everybody?
It's Easter and all, so we figured we'd bring Peter into the mix. And today we're going to kick it over to Dave for the rundown.
All right. So on today's schedule, we are talking about the mask mandate being reinstated in Philadelphia. Of course, can't get rid of this shit for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
We'll go ahead and jump into the hot topic of the week, which is the Twitter takeover potential, and it has all the blue check marks right at the sky, shaking their fists, you know. And then after that, if we get into it, we'll talk a little bit about some more prepping. We've talked water, we've talked food. Now it's time to talk sound money. Know the difference between money and currency.
That's right. So, yeah, so a lot of stuff happening this week. As per usual, it just seems like we're never running out of things to talk about, which is a good thing.
It seems like COVID keeps popping back up over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's just like that friend that you just like have sent a lot of hints to that you don't really want to hang out anymore, but you have a party and they just keep showing up, right? Don't know how, don't know where, but yeah, so Philadelphia has gone through a couple of changes, one being a first major U.S. city to reinstate its indoor mask mandate. Quoting cases rising again. So, interesting to see the progression from deaths to hospitalizations to cases.
Yeah.
So that's how we're that's our barometer as far as how we're judging all of this stuff now. So, Philly has decided to reinstate the mask mandate inside. Now, I might be wrong about this, but I believe it was because Barnard, which is a offset of Columbia University, reinstated indoor masking, which basically gave Columbia the go-ahead to do it on their campus, and Columbia is located in Philadelphia.
I'm not sure. So the way I heard it was that if the day over day, if they had a 50% increase in COVID cases, and not hospital visits, not deaths, just COVID cases, they would reinstate the mask mandate. That's the way. That's what I've read so far.
Okay.
Right. So they can't keep doing this to people. You can't take the mask off, put the mask on. You either let the people make the decision about what they want to do with it. It seems like we're going backwards, completely backwards again.
Yeah.
For something that there's even been other news channels that have stated, look, they're not looking at death rates, right? That's the main one that we should be looking at. It shouldn't be case counts.
Right.
It should be death rates.
Because of the inaccuracies with the testing.
Correct. Yeah, well, it just death rates, right? That's the number to base everything off. Hospitalizations, death rates. Even the CDC had to recount all their death rates from the last 2 years over this shit.
The interesting thing to me is they're like, oh my gosh, emergency, reinstate mask mandate. But wait a week. We're not going to reinstate until the 18th, which is tomorrow.
So yeah, we have a picture here. Look at picture 1. It's actually from CNN Health. This is at April 11th, right? This is Monday, April 11th. Philadelphia will reinstate indoor mask mandates Monday, April 18th, as its COVID-19 cases quickly rise. The city's public health commissioner, Dr. Shara, I'm not going to say that name because I'm going to destroy it, announced Monday. All right, so that's 7 days after it was announced that they were going to start. I thought the period for this was like 2 to 5 days, right? Incubation period. So if it's really that big of a deal, why wouldn't they start it right away?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been a theme throughout this entire thing, right? Is like, we're at least in California, we're masking, right? But it's like, we're not masking until...
Do you think it's just a test, though, to see how fast they can get people to listen to them?
Yes, I think they're compliance tests. I think they've been compliance tests from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
I saw a meme the other day that actually said, you're on your you're on your second shot and first booster, what have you, and you're concerned about cases rising. I haven't even so much as taken a PCR test, and it's that we are not the same Gustavo Fring meme, So it's like, I just think people are on different levels of fear based on the amount of skin in the game, right?
What do you mean?
If you're vested in the vaccination and the companies that created the vaccination and your protection within that vaccination, then you're vested in it doing what they said it was going to do. You're vested in its ability to protect you. You're vested.
So you're saying you're already deep into it. You might as well just stay where you're at and just keep going.
Got to double down
with whatever they're saying. This is. I think it's pretty crazy. After 2 years of this, and we've listened to it. Fauci's back in the news again and all this stuff, and saying we might have to do this, keeping masks on airplanes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing.
Yeah, that they said. Yeah, it's pretty stupid that they're going to do 2 more weeks of it.
What, 15 days, right?
15 days. Well, no, that's 14 days this time.
15 days to slow the curve.
So 14 days. If 15 days is 2
2?
years, let's see. If 15 days is 2 years, 14 days is a year and 364 days.
I mean, at some point you have to look at yourself in a mirror and go, are they fucking with me? Like, are they?
They've got to be. I mean, at some point you got to be like, hey, we know what's out there. We know what the deal is now.
I feel like it's a compliance test, right? If they can take a small poll, like what people do on Twitter, right? They take a poll, they try and gauge.
Oh, like
the
Elon
audience,
does
right?
on Twitter all the time. Yeah.
There's been some interesting polls out of him. We'll get into that later, but it's like if you want to read the room, that's essentially what they're doing. And I've always thought that California has been a major area to judge compliance across the whole country. Right? They're like, hey, if we can get it to work here, we can get it to work anywhere, right? If we can lock the entire Bay Area
California,
down,
New York,
we get
the coasts, right?
Yeah. And we get all 9 counties in the Bay Area to, fall right in line, then this will give us at least a model or a proof of concept or proof of work or whatever Bitcoin's trying to do right now, that this will work, right? And we can continue to use these kind of tactics and measures going forward. So it's a finger in the sky to test the wind, right? To see how.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's like they want to see how fast they can get the public to react to their whims at this point. I mean, we know it's out there. If you want to mask up. If you don't, then what's the difference to you, right?
But I mean, literally, CNN came out and said it's a placebo effect, especially cloth masks. And I have seen. I will say, because we are trying to be accurate here, that a lot of these institutions and places have reinstated a mask mandate with the exception that they're only N95s without a valve or the
I think it's just surgical masks now. In Philadelphia, cloth masks
are not allowed.
Yep.
So, multiple studies have shown that these things are not doing anything. It's just it's a feel-good mechanism for people who, I don't know, were lazy and didn't want to put makeup on, or maybe I'm serious. I've had discussions with people about this kind of stuff. They're like, I was kind of feeling like shit. I didn't really want to do myself up, so it's it's easier just slap
throw a mask on.
Or heaven forbid you're not happy with your body or the way that you look and you want to cover your face because it's easier, right? Like I've had conversations with people about that, and it's a self-esteem issue at this point, right? It's like, well, I feel not only is it like my protection, my binky, but I also, I'm covered. I have some anonymity in my actions. I don't want people to know that I'm doing X, Y, and Z, so I just put a mask on, kind of thing, right?
I could see that. I could see that with some people. Most people just watch, most people are just watching CNN and MSNBC and, and they're scared of it. They don't want it. They're scared of it. No matter how young, old, they're scared of it. It's the same thing. It's been the same thing for 2 years.
Yeah.
There's study after study has shown that, the surgical masks are better than cloth masks, but they're not very good. Unless they're worn properly, right? That means every time you put one on, you throw it away.
Oh, so you don't wear it like this?
No, you always wear it like that under your nose. No, you actually wear it over your eyes. Your no, just right over your eyes. You just walk around like this. That's
just Bo Jiden. Nobody else does that.
No, it's Joe Obama. We had a comment on one of our videos, and one of the guys that commented called him Joe Obama. So I think that's the best term for now.
Yeah,
Joe Obama.
That went really well with the remote, the Babylon Bee working from remote headline. That was nicely done. But that actually brings me into another point that I wanted to make about this. People are kind of looking for that excuse. I do believe that's a small minority, but I also feel like a lot of people just kind of have gotten used to it. they've gotten used to it to the point where they're like, it doesn't really,
especially in hospitals,
doesn't really affect me.
Yeah.
Doesn't, affect my breathing. I can still perform my duties wearing this thing. And it's gotten to a point now where it's rewritten people's default mode. This is a concept that you and I have talked about, elsewhere before in the past, but I feel like as far as programming or kind of a rewriting of your coding, like people have had their default modes changed.
Oh yeah. They call it the new normal, right? That's the name for it, right? It's the new normal, right? This ain't fucking normal. I'll tell you that right now. Nothing about this is normal.
It's not
nothing
new.
about the way
It's
that
not
people.
normal.
Nothing about the way that people are reacting to the government telling you what to do is normal. Not
Right.
one single thing is
Right.
normal about this, right? This is maybe back in the 1600s in England, maybe. Okay, I get it. But
Are you talking about how the left used to be anti-government and fight the war in Vietnam and all that
no,
stuff?
I'm talking about when you have a dictator, a queen or king or whatever, their royal decree, come down and do this, right? That used to be normal back then. As of, the founding of America, that is not normal anymore. It's not normal for the government to say, okay, you have to do this. No, they can tell you, hey, there's something dangerous going on. You decide what you want to do.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't want to leave the house, don't leave the house. That's personal decision is 100% the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's why we are America.
That's how it's supposed to be here.
That's
the
why
confines of the Constitution.
Correct. And it's lost now. I mean, it really is lost on a lot of people. They just they watch their media, whichever one that is. They watch all the stars telling you to do this, telling you to do that. A bunch of celebrities, they're not the brightest people around. They really aren't. They just get their talking points and they just run with them, right?
So, I mean, we try not to paint with a broad brush. I'm sure there's your outliers within that subcategory, but I definitely believe that they're marching to the beat of someone else's drum, and that drum is unified.
And that drum is also putting money in their bank account.
Of course.
Right? So...
But, I feel like that message is curated much like it is in the media. Again, you can see these montages of multiple...
saying the exact same thing. I remember that one, yeah.
For verbatim, layered over each other. There's been some really good, compilations.
And if you have no idea what he's talking about, well, then you probably shouldn't be watching us.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I used to flip through on Instagram and LOL and, DM to my friends or whatever, right? But, it is frustrating because I don't think it's new either. As much as it is not normal, it's not new either. I mean, this kind of programming, propaganda type of shit has been going on, especially in our what do they call it? Our
simulation.
Yes, because we can't really tell if this is real or not. But what do they call the CIA and the FBI? That community. Right.
The alphabet mob?
They always talk about...
Oh, no, that's a different alphabet mob. Sorry.
Anyways, they talk about our, CIA and our FBI as, a community within... They were talking about that a lot when Durham and all the investigations were going on with Russiagate and whatnot, right? Anyways, the point of me bringing that up is one of the really good examples that I've seen a lot, and I've seen it elsewhere, but it happens here a lot, is people inside of their car, completely alone...
With their mask
driving on the highway... with their mask on.
Well, sometimes I wonder though, are those people that are afraid and they just keep their mask on all the time, or are those Uber Eats drivers that are supposed to keep their mask on all the time, or Uber drivers? I don't think you're supposed to. They allow you to remove your mask while you drive or whatever, right? You're always supposed to have your mask on because you're picking up people's foods, you're meeting people, you're seeing people, you're getting people in your car. So I always wonder that, Sometimes I see somebody and it's like. That could or could
Depends
not
on what kind
be,
of car it
right?
is.
Yeah.
If it's a beater, like an old Toyota truck.
If it's an old Toyota truck, they're not wearing a mask.
Specifically in San Francisco, sorry, I called it by the real name. Specifically when I go to Brave Utopia and I see these kind of people in the steel yards and stuff, it's a certain demographic of individual. It's not like a really nice car. It's a beater truck. It's in the sticks. No one's getting an Uber lift there. And yet that individual is wearing a mask, right? So yes, I would give that to you. Circumstances, especially in some nicer cars around the city.
Sometimes you can tell they're just people afraid.
I'd also like it to just chalk it up that it's like people forget. It's like
that the mask is on?
Of course. all the
Dude,
time.
there's no way.
Totally, dude. Totally. I've had people say that to me all the time. Like, and my friends, right? One time we were walking around downtown SJ and we were looking for a place to go eat, and we walked into a spot, but it was closed. So we'd all like masked up, right? And then we turned around and it was closed. We had to find someplace else. I immediately removed my mask. We got 2 blocks before I was like, take your fucking masks off. And they were like, oh shit, I forgot, right? It's like they weren't doing it on purpose, right? So it's like, you know, there's layers to that kind of stuff. There's the people that are doing it because they were told and they need to be obedient and do what, you know, Gabby fucking told them to do. And then there's the people that are scared. And then there's the people that just forget. I really do think people's like default motive has been rewritten.
That's not right. That's not good. I'll tell you that. That's pretty dangerous if they can, you know, easily do something like that. Just out of fear. It's just pure fear at this point, right? It's, you know, they still don't give us proper numbers all the time. They don't tell us what the hospitalization rates are, the death rates. They don't.
Unemployment.
They
jobs,
they haven't told us, okay, how many
BS.
suicides there have been since the lockdowns. I'm sure the numbers are out there somewhere, but it's very hard to get. You're not going to see them on any type of news channel.
Shadow banned.
Yeah, they don't say that stuff.
Yeah,
it's pretty sad. But
well,
it's round 3 coming back at you.
You know,
right?
and the other thing with this whole thing is like, how far are we going to take it again? Right? If we're doing the same shit that didn't
15
work,
days, okay? That's how far we're going to take it.
but you know what is involved in what does that 15 days look like? Are people social distancing again?
Like 2 years.
Are we not
3
allowed
years
to, like,
almost?
You know, hug grandma again?
Yeah.
Like, you know, if masks worked, then why would we reinstitute some of the other COVID era policies, such as one person in an elevator, for example, or you know, stickers all over the fucking floor to tell people where to stand in line at Starbucks to get their drink, right? Like, are we going to go fully back down all of the draconian lockdown measures that we did 2 years ago?
I don't know if that
quasi.
I don't know if that'll work.
I don't think it would.
I don't think it'll work with the people. I just don't. I think there's enough people that have like, we're done. You know, they're over it. I mean, your guess is as good as mine to see what the public's going to do. I don't know.
And remember, all of this is post, 80% vaccine rate.
Yeah, I think Philadelphia has 70-something% or 80% vaccine. It was really close to 80% vaccine rates, high 70s.
So all these individuals went and did, you know, their part. Right?
Yeah, they did what they were told.
Did their part, and now they're supposed to be outside of this thing. They shouldn't be having to wear a mask if they're double jabbed and boosted, right?
Correct. Probably double boosted now.
Or even if it had half of the effectiveness that it was originally touted, right? The efficacy, as they say, that it was originally told. Remember,
the efficacy was great for alpha, right?
100%?
No, it was good for alpha, you know, at preventing hospitalizations and deaths and catching alpha and stuff like that. But it already mutated to Delta by then, and now we got Omicron. Now we got Omicron BA2. You know,
I don't know.
What about Alpha Turi?
Alpha Turi. BA2, buddy.
I don't see it stopping here is my point. I see more and more people adopting the same shit.
I think
that
we're a little
2
too
years ago.
close to the midterms for them to full lockdown again. You know, so if Republicans take over, you know, if you get your red wave, it's not going to happen, obviously. But if the Dems are afraid of the red wave, they are going to think twice about doing it again. I don't know about Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia is a strong blue.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what
but look,
they do to it.
Look how they went in the 2020 election, right? I mean, most of these COVID policies were well around and in full effect.
Yeah, but that was before most of the data was out, right? Everybody was scared. Everybody thought, that Trump was handling it wrong. They didn't realize that the entire world didn't have any control of this.
Yeah.
Right? They blamed Trump. Oh, it's Trump's. It's always the guy up top, right?
I mean,
that's how it is at work
knew,
too.
You know, Bo Biden went up there and his handlers and Kamala, and they all basically said, you know, what their plan was to tackle COVID, even though it was complete BS and they didn't really have a plan. And then they came out later and said, we don't really have a plan. And they're like, but like, you know, these people,
but everybody, all politicians lie to get, put in place, right? They all lie to get voted in. They don't give a shit.
So are the health officials that are running the country politicians too?
Pretty much. They're bureaucrats, right?
We know Fauci is.
Bureaucrats, right? So, I don't know. We'll see where this goes.
Just in case anybody... Just in case anybody is wondering that we're not having audio issues, we have a...
Peter Rabbit's got flop ears and he just keeps hitting his mic. So
We have an Easter egg.
That's right. It's an Easter egg in the show. Exactly. We'll elaborate on it. I like that. Good.
All right. Well,
so I think it's just more to come on this, unfortunately. But we'll take it as it comes. I guess it's not looking good for Cali, though. I will say that.
I mean, we'll find out here soon, right? So I don't see it happening, but you do. I don't. Let's see what happens.
It's just at this point, it's so unlikely that it's going to happen, right? We're going into summer, so flu-like symptoms are on.
You'll get it more in the winter here in California, right? The weather's different.
Yeah.
Right. In the colder climates, it happens because everybody's indoors sharing all the airspace and stuff like that. And then if you get into the hotter climates, it starts happening again in all the indoor space because everybody's indoor in the air conditioning, right? But when the weather's really mild, like what we have here, everybody's outdoors all the time. So you don't see it very often.
Good example, relevant example, Coachella. Coachella's happening right now. It's going on for 2 weeks. Basically outdoor venue. Thousands of people are going to be there. How hot is it in Palm Springs right now? Dude, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
We used to go all the time, right? It's going to be like 80 plus. Are there COVID restrictions at Coachella?
I have no idea.
I would almost bet on it, yes.
I doubt it.
I'd almost bet on it, yes.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll look it up later. We'll add it into the comments. And, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, right? But, I don't see them... It's like the whole 15 days to slow the spread in the first place.
Yeah.
Are they really going to give up the immense power that they have, combined in 2 weeks?
No, never.
It's going to take more time to get all the systems in place, right?
Yeah.
So it's this situation where I see this,
There's the Easter egg for you. It's a dog barking in the background.
I see this steady roller coaster back into exactly where we were.
Yeah.
12 months ago.
I don't know. I'm tired of the masks. I'm tired of the COVID talk. It's been 2 years. Nothing we say makes any difference. The government's going to do what they're going to do, and people keep voting for this dumb shit, and it blows my mind. I'm tired of this whole thing. Even talking about it, I'm just like, rah.
It's Einstein's definition of insanity.
It is. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different. That's also the AA's one, right? I think.
Yeah.
AA's definition of insanity.
Yeah, might be.
Oh, here comes the barking dog.
We will follow this. I think that's enough on this situation.
Now we get into the fun topic.
Well, we can beat around this bush all day long, but it's what everyone's been talking about right now, and I think there's a lot of merit to the kind of conversations that are coming out of this situation.
You gotta look at the monitor.
Oh, yeah, it's perfect. Yeah,
hi Harley.
She's good to go.
It's a Harley girl.
She's chilling.
Yeah.
But
she's interested in what you're saying. She's like, so I gotta put a mask back on?
Oh, I'm out. She's like, I'm out.
I never did it in the first place. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I think it's been good for conversation. What's happening? We're talking about Twitter. We're talking about Elon's, offers and moves over the last couple of weeks. For those of you that don't know, Elon is or was the largest shareholder in Twitter. He
was
9.1%, 9.2%, right? He was offered a position on the board. He declined.
But, yeah, you know why he declined, right? That board spot came with stipulations saying he would not buy more than 14.9% of Twitter. So he didn't want to sign that. So he actually declined to join the board at that point.
It capped his purchase ability.
Correct. They said the max he can get was 14.9%. They know where it was going, right? They know he wants
what happens when anyone meets that threshold? Is 15% a majority?
I don't know exactly what they call it, but that's where they capped it.
It's got now,
I'm sure there is a reason.
Yeah.
I'm not a financial guy, right?
You're no biologist?
I'm no biologist, right? What is a woman? I don't know.
Ask someone who's more qualified.
Ask a woman.
But, there's definitely some games afoot
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
People can speculate all they want about his reasoning for doing this. He as much came out and basically said it in a TED Talk, talking about how Twitter is effectively the modern day
Yeah, the
town
town square, the open circle, where you go and you talk about whatever you want, which it should be, right? That's what its original intention was.
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, all the main ones. Even back in the days of MySpace and stuff like that.
R.I.P.
That was supposed to be. This is how we communicate with each other now. The world is open. We talk to each other and stuff like that. And then somewhere down the path, Twitter's lost that. They follow along certain ideologies, and if you don't kowtow or you don't toe that line, you get banned. You get kicked off, right? And Elon thinks that's wrong. He's got semi-moral. He's got morals.
Was it always that way? I'm not on Twitter, so
I'm not on Twitter either.
Was it a slow, steady progression to censorship?
It was. Well, it goes with what is that? The Andrew Breitbart saying, politics is downstream of culture. It's the same thing with Twitter. And you look at any giant company, right? It's always like, I'm sure Google used to be like one of the funnest companies to work for. I'm sure they're no longer like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything gets corporatized, right? Everything goes one direction. Why is it going to the left? I don't know. I think that's where the money and the culture is going. I'm pretty sure it was a slow descent down there.
Well, unpopular opinion, but it all started with Alex Jones.
I'm sure it started way before Alex Jones.
That was when a lot of people should have started paying attention, though.
Yeah.
Because there was a blanket ban across the internet, multiple platforms, multiple.
If somebody's wrong, though, they still have a voice. They should still have a voice, right? And that's where Elon came out on that TED Talk and said that.
Yes, that's important to elaborate on because I actually used the phrase, new town square, and someone didn't understand what I was saying. And I was like, okay, the dude back in the day that would have the bell and would like run out into the town square and say, hear he, and then, go on about witches.
Yeah.
For 40 minutes.
That's every single person in the United States right now.
But the idea behind the First Amendment and free speech is just because you disagree with it just because if I don't agree with it, doesn't mean I have a right to shut it down. And on top of that, I actually should defend his or her right to say whatever they want to say.
Yeah, that's like the ACLU used to do. They defend, Klan members. They have the right to say what they want, right?
Sure.
Now they go after people for nothing. As long if you don't have their same political views, right? They used to, right? That's the entire point of the ACLU is, to protect people's right. In the case of the Constitution, God-given right, not government-given right, right? So that's where Twitter has gone. They've lost it, a while back, and then after Jack Dorsey left, he put that Parag Agrawal, right? I butchered that name right now, but I don't care. The guy's a prick.
Jack Dorsey too.
Yeah, he's a prick.
It's just like the very hot thing to like call everybody now is a Nazi, right?
Yeah.
Now,
which has no meaning anymore.
It doesn't
because they keep saying it over and over.
They've desensitized
and over again,
the word, but like if there was a true, real Nazi and he walked into downtown, pick your town, and started spewing anti-Semitic hate, and hate speech is not a word, but like literally talking about doing some of the things that Nazis did to Jews back in the day.
Yeah, well, there's a difference between a threat and what they consider now today as hate speech, right? There's no such thing as hate speech, first off. There's speech you like and there's speech you don't like.
Yeah, it's a made-up term.
And then there's threats. Threats are already illegal. You can't say that stuff on Twitter already, right? So why would they start banning people for anything else, right? So I don't get it. It's stupid. And Elon, I think, is doing the right thing by trying to take over. It's either this or he starts his own, right? But the platform's already there. why not just take it over at that point, right? And I'm sure his plan B is a lot smarter than they think. He's got a lot more, up his sleeve.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee you that. And people are freaking out. Why? I don't know. I think we've got a picture of a couple different tweets here. They're pretty funny. First one's going to be picture 2. This one's from Max Boot. What does it say? I am frightened by the impact on society and politics if Elon Musk acquires Twitter. He seems to believe that on social media, anything goes. For democracy to survive, we need more content, moderation, not less. That's if you want to talk about Nazi, that is as Nazi as you can get. And he's major leftist, right? He used to be a good a writer, but now I don't know what happened to him.
Apparently, he cranked out a few good pieces back.
We
in the
need
day.
more moderation, not less. That statement, just that little statement is insane.
Yeah,
that is dangerous.
His miniature dictator came out in that tweet for sure. But I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we should be able to have, Discord with individuals.
Discord's an app.
Discourse on Discord.
Yes, that's it.
That creates this kind of conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like, we have two options. We work through our issues when we disagree on something, and we potentially enlighten ourselves, maybe change our position if we're enticed to, and have a lot of information set.
Or not. I mean, if you're the problem though is that people now they fight on Facebook, Twitter, they fight online because there's no consequences to it, right? So anybody's down to argue with anybody else. Dude, stop hitting your ear against the mic, Peter Rabbit.
He's doing that every time either you or I scratch our beard.
He's a wascally rabbit. I know.
He's trying to make the scratch.
I'm just messing with him.
But he took his cover off.
Where was I? I don't remember.
The ability to have these kind of conversations is what allows society and culture to thrive.
That's where I was.
But when
we
you
were
start
talking about
shutting
the
that
arguments.
kind of stuff off, it actually is at the detriment of society because you start to create these divides when you're not able to talk shit.
Yeah, echo chambers is what they call them, right?
You have echo chambers, but then you also have, ignorance.
Yeah.
To the way the other person looks, right? Just because I don't agree with you doesn't mean I don't necessarily want to understand what you're saying.
Well, with the whole agreeing thing, like I was saying earlier, there's no consequences for me to spout off at the mouth at you online. There's no consequences, right? You're not going to come over to my house. You're not going to kick my ass. You're not going to do any of that stuff because you don't know who I am.
Anonymity within the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a safe haven for people that just want to argue, that have miserable lives. If they're sitting here like Max Boot was talking about on here, that sounds like a miserable human being to me.
Yeah.
If you think moderation is good and you think that needs to happen more, you sound like a miserable human.
Okay.
You really,
well, So back to my point about Alex Jones.
Did I say human or human?
Human.
Human.
It's like what they used to call him before they could pronounce the H, right?
Just human.
I have a huge problem with this because going back to the Alex Jones thing, he says a lot of unpopular shit, a lot of conspiracy theories, a lot of stuff that people don't agree with at all. And it creates this disdain for the individual. But the problem is just because you don't like what some of the shit that he says doesn't mean he should be shut down completely. And
he shouldn't be shut down at all unless he's doing something illegal, right? He shouldn't be shut down. That's not Twitter's place to do that, right?
He should be shut down by other people having conversations with him and attempting to change his mind with facts and information.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Is you put out a bad idea, the good ideas will prevail. And if you stop putting out bad ideas, there's no good ideas left to prevail. Everything's just rotten. That's where Twitter's at. That's exactly where they're at.
The only way we get through that, though, is allowing these kind of conversations to happen, right? And there was an interesting bit of a novel that the former CEO of Reddit put on Twitter. His name is Yishan Wang. Anyway, you can find it. I was having some trouble finding it earlier. I was going to take some snippets of it, but he said some pretty interesting things on this whole Elon entanglement. It had to do with big tech. It had to do with censorship. He's speaking from the place of a former CEO of one of these tech companies. And he basically says, I'm paraphrasing here, but he essentially says, tech companies, social media platforms, tech giants have no interest in actually censoring you. All they would like to do is just create, different features for the platform, have the ability to, change and make edits to the platform based on user feedback, these kind of beta programs, all that kind of stuff. But it also has the ability, to focus on that instead of focusing on censoring, right? And they say, oh, the left or the right, based on the politics on the platform, isn't really being censored one way or another. Twitter, for example, Reddit especially, because he was, again, the former CEO, he talks about these things as if they don't really want to be doing it. They'd rather be focusing on, building the platform out and doing these other things. But that's kind of where he loses me in his little rant, because he essentially...
What's their reason? They do want to do it. If they didn't want to do it, they wouldn't do it, right? Even Jack Dorsey came out with a tweet, what was it, last week, saying that, oh, we don't want to censor people, but we do censor people. It's like, that's the worst thing about this company, and it was a bunch of horseshit. He literally talked himself in a circle.
So did this guy.
And he was talking to, I think he was talking to Elon on Twitter.
They were going back and forth.
Yeah.
So Elon actually responded to Yishan Wang's novel. It was a lot of panels. There's probably 20 or 30 different tweets built in there. And at the end, all he said was, the only thing that this means is that Twitter really needs to have more than 180 characters.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because he just wrote such a long thing. But it doesn't make any sense to me when he says, these giant companies would want nothing more than to allow all of this speech on their platforms, yet they're forced to censor people because people bitch too much. That was basically what he said.
If you can't stand it, get the fuck off the platform.
As a moderator,
what's the point of that, right?
That's your job, though. As a moderator, you are to remove threats and then allow everything else.
Yeah, that's the problem, though. They're protected under Section 230, right?
Yes.
They can't be held liable for anything, no slander, nothing like that. I could say something online. If it's illegal, I get in trouble.
Yes.
Right? There's no such thing as a moderator. There should be people that oversee it. No moderation.
Well,
right?
so
That's the thing is, and their algorithms, the way they work should be public knowledge. Right?
The way that it has...
Sounds like you got a metal nipple right there.
The way that it was written, though, is basically, we are not the publisher.
Yeah.
We are just the provider.
Correct. It's like
Right.
AT&T telling you that, hey, I can't give you a phone line because I don't like what you say.
Right.
Go fuck yourself.
I don't like the fact that you're talking to somebody in Russia.
Correct. And that's what Elon disagrees with at Twitter. And he's been hit before, on some of his tweets and stuff like that. So it's nice to have somebody that has the money that can go in there and do something.
Currency.
That can go in there and do something like this.
Yeah.
That can go in there and scare the crap out of them. Whether he gets it or not, it'll change things there.
It's forcing some conversation that has not been had. Forcing conversation that has not been had about Twitter in a long time.
Correct.
And
yeah.
I think it's got some people shitting bricks, which is interesting to see. But it also has some people thinking about, hey, you know what? If that platform turns around and they do start allowing some people to actually speak their mind.
I might actually get a Twitter account at that point, I might, who knows?
The Unrefined Project might have a Twitter account.
Absolutely.
You never know.
There's another, there we go. There's another tweet that stuck out. I was reading a couple of these tweets, and I don't have Twitter. I just find them online and, read what some of these blue checks are saying. Cause it's kind of interesting that these are the verified people that have lots of followers and stuff like that. This is picture 3. This is Spencer Toder or Toder. I don't know whether he's a toad or a Todd.
I think we're going Toder.
I'll say
I like Toder.
Toder.
Yeah.
I'm a Toder,
ST.
from the Toder Club. Spencer Toder for Senate. I don't know where he's running for Senate, but this guy's a douche. All right. So he said Elon Musk used government subsidies to fund Tesla's growth and to launch SpaceX. He then moved to Texas to avoid paying taxes that would support his community. Now we're all stuck with another billionaire vanity project, tax the rich. First off, is this Elon used the tools at his disposal because of government subsidies. Is that the government handing out the subsidies, or I don't blame that on Elon at all. You know,
Yeah.
when California sent us child tax credits, which I got none, you know, I got like whatever it was. I'm not going to give it back to them.
I think I got $56 twice.
I think I got like $26 or something like that, right? Once or twice. But it's not, you know, you can't just give that back to them, right? That's going to come out of your taxes at the beginning of the year. So that's besides the point. But is that a problem with Elon Musk using the tools that were literally sitting right in front of him? Or is that our government picking winners and losers, saying, okay, we're going to pay for your, you know, you're green. We'll pay for you. Don't worry. We'll give you some money here. We'll give you kickbacks here and stuff like that. And this guy's a douche anyways, because he didn't move his plant to Texas. He still has his plant in Fremont.
Yeah.
You know, he's still there. He's not taking that plant away. He's got another factory in Nevada building the batteries. And then he's got another plant coming online in Texas as well.
I don't know. This is the kind of shit that people just like glob onto when they hear, right? Like this guy probably doesn't know.
Dude, this tweet has 48,000 likes.
Yeah, but
48,000 people saw that and said, "Yo, no, you're right."
But the individual that penned it doesn't have any actual knowledge in Elon Musk's finances. He doesn't know where his businesses are.
No, but he just sees a rich person that he wishes he was, and he's jealous. That's the whole point of this tax the rich bullshit. Is if you want to tax the rich because you think they're not paying their fair share, dude, they pay. We went through this in another episode. I think it was episode 3.
Yep.
They pay the majority of net taxes in the United States are paid for by the rich. Okay, and then they reinvest into companies that hire people that pay their payroll taxes. There's taxes everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So they need to stop saying tax the rich. All they're doing is playing to a poorer people that want that money.
Yeah.
They're playing on people's jealousy, just like they played on fear with COVID. They're playing on jealousy with tax the rich. That's horseshit. I don't buy it. This he's a fucking toad. He's a piece of shit.
This guy is running to become Missouri's next senator. I just looked him up online.
Where at?
Missouri. I feel like these people without a lot of knowledge, and I'm not saying this like I'm some, you know, expert on Elon Musk and his companies, but I've paid enough attention. I live very close to where one of his factories are, you know, like I have friends that work for the company, etc. Right. So it gets to a point where you're kind of not necessarily intimately familiar, but you're a little more familiar with the situation than you'd like to be. Mm-hmm. And then you see this kind of shit and you're like, oh, he clearly doesn't really know what he's talking about. Right. This is you know, a firework in the sky kind of attempt at 15 minutes of fame to pump up the candidacy. Right. I mean,
yeah, by
there's
playing
no such thing
to
as bad
people,
publicity, right?
by playing off people's jealousies. That's all it is, right?
Or ignorance.
Or both.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column
First
B.
off, there's a lot of things wrong with that tweet. Government shouldn't be subsidizing things that they pick. Solyndra didn't work out very well for them, did it? That was another thing that got, you know, subsidies up the ass, right? That was.
Did Tesla buy the old Solyndra building?
No, I think it's Western. No, I think they own like one or something like that. I think
We'll
Western Digital bought the other ones. They were right off of 880.
Yeah, I know. I remember I used to bomb past that every day. Solyndra, and watch
right?
the little Solyndra name come
they,
down.
Yeah, our government gave them all this money.
Yeah.
That wasn't theirs to give in the first place. That was ours.
This was Obama era green company.
Yeah, if you guys don't remember, look it up.
Yeah, Solyndra.
That's what happens when government picks winners and losers.
Well, the other thing that I want to bring up is like, you know, there's a little bit of a moral judgment call as well, right? Like just because you've had subsidies offered to you, do you necessarily like have to do it? Right? If you really believe, like I believe, that taxation is theft, then if you're in a position to actually have subsidies offered to you in the first place, then maybe you should look at where that funding is actually coming from.
Sorry. Maybe I have COVID. I don't know.
Hopefully.
Or I have a toad in my throat, right?
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Ooh, toad for Senate.
Little totter.
No, but if say you've got a company or an idea that you want to start and the government's like, hey, we'll give you this. We want to see returns. We want to see, you know, because they always do that, right? I think his companies have done more good for people than they've used in subsidies so far. The government shouldn't have been doing that, right? It worked out for him, but he is one of many. And I don't know of any other ones that have worked out this well.
What do you mean?
right? Other companies that the government's, kicked money into, all this stuff like that. Any subsidies.
Which
right?
company of his? Tesla?
No, yeah, for Tesla, it's worked out really well, right? Tesla is, an innovator, a major game changer. So it did work this time, right? But with all the other companies they've invested in, it hasn't, right? So should they be doing that in the first place? Should we have a say in that? You would think so, right? I guess they would say, oh, you got a say in it by voting.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I disagree with the whole subsidies things. I don't think we should be funding anybody with, with fiat that wasn't earned in the first place, right?
And the subsidies for the SpaceX, that's not really true. They signed a contract with SpaceX is what they did to get back into the International Space Station and building rockets and stuff like that. So, and that's why Jeff Bezos tried to sue the government because they went with SpaceX instead of Bozo's fucking whatever his dick in the sky
He also
is.
cited the other billionaire that's been trying to get to space, Verizon or Virgin Air. What's that dude's name? Come on,
Branson.
There it is. You got like 3 millionaires tugging each other trying to shoot off to space first.
Billionaires.
Right? Billionaires, whatever. One of them's probably a trillionaire now.
No, I think Elon's the richest man in the world. It depends on where his stock price is at the time, right?
So that is another thing. So
they're using stock prices as his net worth, not really his what he has in the bank, right?
Yeah,
he doesn't have the money sitting in a bank account.
Yeah, it's all what his companies are worth and what his presumed wealth, right?
Yeah, it's his net worth basically. If he were to liquidate everything tomorrow, he could technically have that, but liquidating that much stock or anything like that, it tanked the stock. So no, he wouldn't.
So again, let's just finish this thought here. He offered
$54.20, obviously with the $420 per share to buy out the entire thing, which is right around $42 billion, right? $42 billion.
Now, is that its current price?
No,
no. Because the stock price jumped up after he announced that he owned, the 9.1.
It did. So if you watch it, their stock has been up, in the 60s, 70s years, like last year, 2 years ago, or whatever it was, and it's steadily dropping. Right now, it's around 42 to 47. Fluctuates really bad.
Is there any correlation between our last president and that?
No. What are you talking about?
I wonder if maybe that was like the best thing Twitter had.
Ask
going
Jen
for it for a long time.
Psaki. The stock market has nothing to do with how good the economy is. Okay.
Got it.
Because Sheepa knows every thing.
She's literally just counting down the days until she can run, run away.
Yeah, run away, not run.
But it's interesting to see kind of where this is all going to go. It's fun because I'm not vested in it at all. I think it's a little ridiculous that someone can shoot out a tweet and affect stock markets and economies and who wins and who loses and all that kind of crap. I think we should allow the market to really decide a lot of that kind of stuff. I don't think we would have a lot of the stuff that's being shoved down our throat right now if we would just allow the market to figure it out.
Absolutely.
We were talking about public transit a little bit, and we have a little bit planned for public transit later on. We're not going to dive too much into it, but some of these transit companies within these cities run at deficits.
All of them do. They're federally funded. They all run at deficits.
I want to watch what I say. I don't want to, I want to be factual. I have not done the research on all of the public transportations across the country, but an assumption of ours from what we've seen is that the majority of them run at deficits.
Maybe not places like New York because they actually do get the ridership.
They get used,
until they get shut up. But that's a different subject altogether.
Or until someone lets a flashbang off.
Yeah, and then start shooting, right? But that's a totally different subject. But there you go.
It's getting better at that. But it's. If we allowed the market to decide, the majority of these metropolises would not have public transportation.
No.
Right?
No, they wouldn't.
Or the cost of a ticket would be 10 times what it is right now.
Well, if we also, did the same thing for for mail carriers, right?
Sure.
They run at a loss. It's federally funded. Same type of thing. Anything that's federally funded seems to spend a lot of money and waste a lot of money and not run at any gain. At a loss, usually all the time.
Over time and over budget on most projects.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. That's why, a lot of contractors love getting like federal buildings and state buildings and stuff like that because they can charge more for the same thing because there's no negotiating in price. It's who you know. It's not how much the bid is for, right? It's okay. My cousin's dad is, a senator. He's going to make sure we run this thing at prevailing wages. We're going to do this. That's the same way everything's run.
It's interesting too, because it doesn't necessarily, the amount of fiat that you spend on a project doesn't necessarily equate to the quality of materials and the quality of building practices.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they go with the cheapest shit that they can find, but then still charge the exorbitant amount and then pocket the difference, right? Yeah. So you're not really getting an increase in quality, or you're not really getting more of a bang for your buck.
Not always. Sometimes it depends, but not always, no.
Depends on the project, depends on who's, heading the projects and stuff. But the majority of the time, there's some skimming, there's some pocket filling, some briefcases being, shuffled across.
And what are they being filled with?
Fiat.
Currency.
I call it fiat. My wife.
Take us into this.
It took a while. It took a while for my wife to get used to that, but
I'm sure everybody's tired of the Elon thing already. He needs to take that shit over.
I wish he would just buy it and then just turn it off.
He took a poll. He took a poll on Twitter. If he was on the board, should they get rid of the W in Twitter? So it's just titter.
I call it twatter. I've always called it twatter.
But, I think he just needs to take it over and burn. There you
go. There you go. All right. So, so we're going to just leave that lay. I'm sure there will be more.
The story's just starting,
yeah,
right?
This is just getting.
It's only the first week and a half or whatever it is.
So, all right. So, if you haven't realized by now,
Peter Rabbit's a douche.
I do enjoy being prepared. We talked a little bit about peace of mind and some of the stuff that brings with us. It's just one less thing that I have to worry about. I have a lot of things that I have to worry about. I like to just kind of set it and forget it, like we were talking about earlier. But we talked a little bit about food. We talked a little bit about water. Obviously, you need these things in order to live beyond 3 days or 3 weeks, right? But if you're a little further down the line of your preparedness and you have, some certain things dialed in as far as those categories, then, we can talk about some of the nuances that are involved with some of the other categories, right? And one that I put up pretty high on my list is
everybody meet Peter Rabbit.
Sound money. We have this notion that the majority of people worship this paper. And you know what I forgot? I meant to bring some silver certificates that my grandma gave me that she's been saving for me all these years. She just gave them to me a couple weeks ago. But on our currency, back when it was still backed with something intrinsic, it used to say a silver certificate. It was actually a promissory note, right? So currency used to be a promise.
Yeah, it was tied to gold and silver. It was tied to, gold, right?
Gold, but silver played a role in that because, basically there was a barrier of entry to gold, and some people couldn't obtain that barrier to entry. So they went with a cheaper alternative, still intrinsic, still fungible.
Still just as valuable. And so that's what a lot of people don't realize is silver's pretty valuable.
I would argue
as compared to gold.
It's even more valuable than gold.
Gold looks flashier. All right? Get it right. Okay, that's why platinum never really took off as a lot of jewelry, because it's more expensive than gold and it looks just like silver.
Yeah, but platinum can be used to run your internal nuclear power plant and run your biosuit, and then you can fight superbugs. Or was that palladium?
It's palladium.
I forget.
No, that's palladium. Palladium is as Wolverine, isn't it?
I don't know. Any of our Marvel fans out there, just correct us because we're kind of dumb.
No, that's adamantium. I don't know. Who gives a shit?
It's either palladium or platinum. It's one of the two.
I don't know. Palladium and platinum are what you find in catalytic converters. That's why people are stealing them all over the place, right?
So
at least here in California.
Right? Remember when we rolled up to that place and it was a government facility and there was a bunch of tow trucks there? It was over downtown. There's a bunch of tow trucks and they were putting all of their city work vans. There was like 9 of them.
Yeah.
And they were all loading up city work vans on these tow trucks. We're like, hey, what happened? And they're like, we all had the catalytic converters.
Yeah. Right off 87.
Right off the
Julian.
There. So anyway, sorry, sidebar. If you haven't realized by now, I love silver. Silver is my jam. My call name on the radio when I was in construction was Silver Squirrel because I squirrel away silver, and it's just
you think it'd be like silver balls or something?
I mean, people got creative.
Have your balls replaced with silver.
My whole thing is I don't trust currency because I don't trust people's faith in currency.
Well,
right?
currency's it's tied to, ours is tied to oil, right? There's nothing else to be tied to anymore. We don't have enough gold.
They had to tie it to oil as a substitute for gold.
Correct. Yeah, we don't have enough.
When we were finally the last nail in the coffin for Nixon putting us off the gold standard, shortly after that, we got into OPEC and had the petrodollar exist, right? So we kind of leapfrogged from gold to oil, and people, it's a lot easier to trade cash in and trade in gold than it is a 55-gallon drum of oil, right?
Yeah.
So it's more fungible, it's easy to carry, divisibility, all that stuff that makes money. Mike Maloney has done an absolutely amazing job on, we got that guy right there. Mike Maloney has done an absolutely amazing job on chronicling currencies, currency wars, what makes money, what makes currency, the hidden secrets of money. It's like a 9 or 10 part series. You can find it on YouTube. Anyway, he's a gangster. I love Mike Maloney to death. But I've been stacking for a long time now, and the way that I try and describe it to people is like what I said last time. I don't really measure my wealth in dollars anymore. I don't look at digital illusions of wealth on screens. I don't care for zeros and commas. I care for this stuff right here. And the idea behind that is I don't save in currency. I don't save in fiat. I save in this right here. I play the game, and I use whatever vehicle that they force me to use, i.e. the United States dollar. But this guy right here, the shiny, no one can inflate this away. This sits wherever you want it to sit.
In fact, it's opposite of that. That's actually forcefully deflated right now. Because they use it so much. It couldn't go up as much as gold because silver is used a lot more in a lot more things, right?
Well, there's also tamp downs. I mean, if you really get into the markets and watch the fluctuation of the spot price, you see that it's tamped down and it's controlled. If silver was allowed to operate at its natural price, its unmanipulated price, it would be, in my opinion, tenfold of what it is now.
Yeah, that's getting pretty close to gold.
But it's also finite, right?
Yeah.
Just like all this other stuff. We can only get so much of it out. That's the argument with Bitcoin, which is a whole other topic, another series, another idea that's been beaten to death. But another series we would like to do is, Bitcoin being touted as a store of value, right? But I don't think that it's going to do me any good to have a bunch of cash stuffed under my mattress. I prefer to operate within the paradigm that I am forced to operate in and then save outside of that realm. So I like silver for those reasons. There's other ways to go about it. I don't really buy gold right now because I think it's too overpriced, and the gold to silver ratio is way out of whack right now. I'd like it to be a little bit closer to normal. All details and stuff that you can either look up yourself, or if you're interested to hear more, let us know down in the comments.
Yeah, so you've got your water, you've got your food. Squirrel away and be a fucking silver squirrel like this douchebag,
and that's the thing too, is like when it comes down to this kind of stuff, like a lot of people, keep these secrets to themselves and don't tell anybody and want to like have it all to themselves. I know it's a finite resource. I know that at one point in time it will become unaffordium, and even if people can afford it, it will become
unaffordium.
Unaffordium.
Unaffordium. I like that. That's a new word for me. Never heard it.
It's what the kids are saying these days. You gotta try and stay hip.
God, I'm getting old.
Yeah,
old, baby.
You have unaffordium, and then even if you could afford it, it will become unattainium. At one point in time.
Unattainable. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Unattainium.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I think we're going to reach a point in time, and I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
That's always true. And if you got some extra cash lying around, that Elon gives you, go buy yourself some silver.
Yeah. Take what are they talking about? Gas subsidies next, right? They're talking about cutting people in California.
Yeah, giving them checks for gas and stuff like that, which is stupid. Just get rid of the gas tax for a year. What happened to that?
No,
they talked about that, right?
We can't cut revenue.
Yeah, but they can take the money and give it right back to you because they're fucking idiots.
Whatever,
as long as they take their cut, though. They got to get their cut. They got to make sure they're paid for and stuff like that.
We have to keep making sure that people that don't contribute to anything that we enjoy continue to get rich off of our stolen fiat.
Yes. Yeah, that's plain and simple. Taxation is theft. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
Taxation is theft.
Actually, I literally saw a handmade bumper sticker on a beater ass van on my way here that said taxation is theft.
Yeah, and the reason he's driving a beater ass van is because he doesn't want to be
stolen.
taxed.
Exactly. All right, so that's basically all we got. We're working on a few other things. I really kind of want to.
It has been kind of a slow news week, unfortunately. There's
don't think
nothing.
so.
It's not slow. It's fun to watch. There's some good shit going on between Twitter, Elon, Philadelphia COVID lockdown, all that kind of shit that we talked about. It's fun. It's not the.
It's just nice to not.
It's not a war.
It's just
We
nice to
stopped
not
talking
say
about
the
that
word
shit.
Ukraine for once.
Yeah,
right?
we stopped talking about that. What are you talking about?
shucks.
Yeah, nobody pays attention to that shit anymore.
All right,
Thanks, Will Smith.
Yeah, thanks. The slap.
it's an entanglement. We'll see more of it. All right, take us away, Dave.
All right, so same thing I say every week. Get off your ass. Do something different every day. Go for a walk. If you don't, just do something different. Right, you'll feel better. I promise. Eat healthy. Love your kids. Love your wife. Love your husband.
Your dog.
Love your dogs.
Love your dogs.
I love my dogs. So I think I love my dogs more than Peter Rabbit.
Don't murder innocent animals in the streets because you think
Absolutely
they have COVID.
Yeah, and don't kill beagles.
Yeah, don't do that.
Dr. Fauci.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
But-
don't kill beagles with sandflies.
But I like that. It's I like elevating your heart rate. I like getting your breath going.
I didn't used to always do that. I didn't always used to get up and move. And one thing that stuck out to me, I don't remember who said it. It was a long time ago. If somebody wants you, or if you got to go do something, it's not hard. You're literally just moving your body. You're moving body parts. A lot of people don't like to do that. A lot of people don't like to get up and go do something. It's not hard. You don't even have to think about it most of the time. You just get up, move your body. That's all you're doing. If you have responsibilities, if you want a better job, if you want to go do something better in your life, just get up and go do it.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, I can't because of this. I can't because of that." Well, those are just excuses, right?
Yeah.
Get up, go take a walk. Right? If you feel like you're overweight, get up, take a walk. 30 minutes a day will change your life. Stop eating the way you're eating. Get healthy, right? Just do it.
Yeah.
Why not? What have you got to lose?
I've seen this on some shirts. I've seen this in some memes. Actually, an individual that we're discussing potentially having on the show in a couple of weeks. This is one of his messages as well. I think it was pretty much nobody cares. Do better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like nobody gives a shit what your excuse is. Do better.
Every time I work out, or every time I'm going to, work on something, I always try to do better than I did last time. Right? That's the goal of life, is just do better and do better and do better until you die, and then you don't give a shit anymore, right? But,
Yeah.
that's what I say. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys watched, if you didn't, well, I'm not talking to you because you didn't watch it, you assholes.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate your time.
Yeah.
We know that an hour is a lot these days. So
Yeah, we ran a little
thank you.
over on this one,
Yeah,
but
it's all right.
it's
That's
all
how
right, you
things go.
guys.
But we appreciate you, and until next time, this
Go
is
ahead
another
and
episode.
make sure you like, subscribe. I don't even know all the dumb shit people say nowadays, but just do it. Go on there, comment,
we don't
like,
really care.
subscribe.
Just
interact with us.
Just interact.
Ask us questions.
Yeah.
So, all right, you guys.
This has been another episode of the Unrefined Project. Till next time.
Later, guys.